Hello and welcome back to Popcorn Chat. I hope you guys are doing well. As you've probably noticed on the channel, I've had a little bit of a break from YouTube, sort of having a little bit of time off producing videos, with everything sort of picking back up again. But this is me coming back, trying to make a lot more content for you guys to enjoy. So I was tagged by Luke to talk about the 10 films I still shockingly haven't seen. So I'm going to run through 10 films that I think many of you will deem classics or must-watches that I still have yet to see. So hopefully this will sort of start to peel away any sort of stigma or anything like, you're a film reviewer, you should be watching all the sort of the classics and stuff. So hopefully as I go through this list, you guys are like, oh actually I haven't seen those, or maybe it's not worth seeing, or you should definitely see that. So hopefully this will stir up a little bit of conversation. So let's get into the video. So in at number 10 we have Bring It On. Now this is a film that I've just never got round to seeing, and when I've tried to watch it fairly recently and looking for it on demand and stuff, I can't find the original anywhere. I can't find the original, so that makes it a lot harder to find, whereas I know it branched off into a big sort of series and a franchise, but I've never seen the original Bring It On, and I know how it was a big sort of cultural reference, and lots of other TVs and films have referenced it, but I've just not walked around and seen it. But if someone could tell me where I can see it or get it on Blu-ray or DVD, let me know, because I'd love to watch it. So at number 9 we have Robocop. Again, this is one of these sort of films that I've just never sought out really. I've never sort of ventured out to watch it. I feel like it's one of those films that might be on TV every now and then, but it's just a film I've never sought out. But I know it has a lot of fans really. I know a lot of people love this film, but I've heard so much, like in terms of like plot points, and sort of I guess the twist or whatever, so I guess that's probably why I've not watched it, because some of it's been sort of spoiled a little. But I do want to watch it, I just need to find it, I guess. So at number 8 we have Eraserhead. Now I have only seen one David Lynch film, I think that was Mulholland Drive. And again, I can't really remember it because it was such a long time ago. But I've never really watched David Lynch, never watched Twin Peaks or anything like that. I think I'd be interested in his sort of film making sort of style and sort of the ambiguity of it all. I think it would be up my street, but again, it's just a director that I've never sought out and looked really at their work specifically. But I think Eraserhead's on Netflix, so it's been on my watch list for a while. I will get round to it, I promise. So in at number 7 we have Being John Malkovich. I don't know much about this film. All I know is like there's different versions of John Malkovich within his head, possibly. I'm not too sure, but it's just another film which I think it would appeal to me, because I think from what I've seen there's probably some sci-fi elements, some great sort of acting moments for those sort of for John Malkovich especially, but from what I imagine it's quite similar to Eternal Sunshine, so therefore I think I would like it. In at number 6 we have The Pianist. Now some of you may know that I'm not a massive sort of war film. I know this isn't war necessarily, but from what I know it's sort of set around that era, and I think it's quite long from what I've heard. And when I watch films, I'd say the ideal sort of length would be an hour and a half, maximum 2 hours. That's what's going to keep my sort of attention span and allow me to have sort of engagement and empathy with the characters. When you're nearing to sort of 3 hours, I think you sort of lose me a little bit, and I think this film is that sort of length. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is a longer film. But I know it's a classic. I know Adrian Brody got an Oscar for it, but I just haven't got round to it. It's something that I think I'm going to have to sort of really try and watch, and I know it's probably one of those films I only need to watch once, but it's going to have to take a lot of focus and possibly 3 hours of my life. So in at number 5 we have Schindlers List, and it's very similar to what I just said about The Pianist, with being a war film. I know it's classic, it's very sort of groundbreaking in terms of the style. I know it's edited so it's black and white, and there's like one thing that's red throughout. That's about as far as I know. I know Liam Neeson's in it. Again, I think it's a long film, it's war films, sort of things that I try and avoid in terms of cinema. But I will work my way around to it. Again, because of the cultural references, I think it's significant that I need to watch this film. So number 4 is Gladiator. Gladiator is a film which I've heard spoiled to death. I know pretty much most things that happen. I know sort of the backstory with Oliver Reed and all this. I know what happens. I've seen Joaquin Phoenix, I've heard the quotes, and I just don't think I need to see it. I think I've sort of watched it inadvertently through cultural references and people mentioning it all the time, and the sort of symbolism of it all. So that's probably why I've not worked around to actually watching it for myself and making an opinion, because I've had other people's opinions thrust onto me. So it's at the bottom of the list, I will be honest, in terms of my watch list. But I guess I need to watch it at some point. But there's plenty of other films I'd much rather watch, in terms of genre especially. So we're getting a little bit of a theme here, but in at number 3, it's Saving Private Ryan. You know, you can tell that I'm not really a massive war fan, so I guess I've deemed a lot of some really sort of pivotal war films, and I know like that every male actor is in this film, and there's the iconic opening beach scene. I think they might have shown us it in English. I can't remember why, but I don't know what happens necessarily. I think obviously they're going to save Private Ryan, you know, going to go get a person, similar to Apocalypse Now, and it's not my cup of tea, in all honesty. I may get round to it, but alongside Gladiator, it's at the bottom of the list. So in at number 2, we have 12 Angry Men. This again is a classic Hollywood film, black and white. I think it's the only black and white sort of traditional film on this list, but I've never worked my way round to seeing it. I know it sort of follows 12 people that are trying to make a decision on someone's life in court, but again, court films are something that I would never really choose to watch. War films, legal films, really not my sort of thing. I know this film always comes up within the top 10 on like 100 film lists, but it's just something that's never appealed to me. I probably should watch it because there's probably references to it that I never knew in sort of pop culture, but it's just similar to the war films that I mentioned earlier. It's an area of storytelling and sort of setting that doesn't really appeal to me. It's not a story that I could sort of get behind or relate to necessarily, so I think that's why a lot of these films have sort of shifted down in terms of priority. So in at number 1, we have Scarface. I think I've only ever seen, what is his name? Al Pacino, of course it's Al Pacino. I think I worked out that I've only seen Al Pacino in one film, and that was the original Godfather, which is the only film I've seen in the Godfather trilogy, and I know Luke mentioned he's not seen Godfather Part 2, but yeah, Al Pacino, hardly see him in any film, and I know Scarface is one of his sort of more reputable titles, but it's something I've never worked around to. I know it's sort of a gangster sort of film, and again, I've heard the quote, you know, say hello to my little friend. I know Michelle Pfeiffer's in it because I see like fan cams of her. That's about it really. I would probably watch this one more than the war films that I mentioned. I think this one could be a little bit more sort of action entertained sort of premise, but I haven't worked round to it. So there you have it. There's my 10 films that I've yet to see that I'm sure is very shocking for some of you out there. And thank you very much, Luke, for tagging me. It definitely made me think a little bit more about my watch list. Maybe I should watch a little bit more of these classics and maybe step outside of my comfort zone a little bit more in terms of cinema genre especially. So I think I might move a few of these up in the ranks. And if anyone doesn't know a copy of Bring It On that they can sort of link me to, let me know. I really enjoyed doing this video, and I'm going to pass that forward and tag a few people, so feel free to get involved if you want to. There's no pressure if you don't want to, but I think it could be quite an eye-opening experience. So I'm going to tag Anthony Turner, Geeky Hijinks, Movie Worm, Let's Be Real with Brad, Man of Movies, and Let's Crash the Parade. I'd be really interested to see what your 10 films that you shockingly still haven't seen are, and hopefully this will sort of open up a little bit of a discussion and sort of throw away that sort of, you know, ego, oh, I haven't seen these films, or maybe you're lying that you've seen some classics when you haven't really. So I think this could be a little bit of an eye-opening experience. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon for another popcorn chat.